In the intricate tapestry of life, we are endowed with the power of choice, whether to succumb to the weight of our failures and allow them to etch a narrative of defeat, or to transform them into stories of resilience and triumph. By embracing failures, not as endpoints, but as stepping stones, we can forge a path forward for personal growth and illuminate the beacon of hope for those navigating their own journeys. And my guest today did exactly that. Jacob Brown. His journey starts from the rigorous fields of the NFL to international stages, and it's nothing short of inspiring. So I'm super excited to introduce Jacob. And he not only is he an entrepreneur, but he's a riveting speaker and an acclaimed writer that stands as a testament to the power of resilience. So Jacob, so good to see you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Angelique. It's really, really good to be here, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Oh, lovely. I was scanning through some of the photos you shared for the episode, and what I loved is all of the backgrounds of Detroit.
Yeah.
I missed it.
Yeah, I can imagine. So my wife is a wedding and family photographer. She also does branding. So she takes all of my photography. So I'm lucky in that vein.
I was going to say, lucky you. Those are some great photos. Great
Absolutely.
Photos. So failing forward. So a little bit of background for the audience. I first became connected to you on LinkedIn. I've been following you for years. Love your content, love your posts. Waking up to a Jacob Brown post on a Monday for the motivation of the week is always so inspiring. And one of the hashtags you've started and really the movement that you started is failing forward.
Yes.
It's more than just a hashtag. It's a way of life. So what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so back in 2017, I believe it was January 2017, I was at a point in my life where I'd gone through a lot of things. I went through college, I had gotten married for the first time, got divorced, went through the custody battle, all the whole gambit, right? I got remarried. I was working a job that at the time was my dream job. I was the director of a agency, leading a team of designers, developers. And I was at a point where I was like, oh my gosh, I went through all of that and I'm here. I'm still here. Like I'm still alive. I'm thriving. I was just named 40 under 40 and I'm only 32. Like life was good. And I said, I want to share this. And I wrote my first fail forward post and I wrote it on LinkedIn. And it was basically all the things I just said, like this happened at this age. This happened at that age, right? I failed here. I started this business. It failed. It bombed, blah, blah, blah. I made it to this point and everything's good. And I wanted to share that, guys. No matter what you go through, you can fail, but still fail forward. You can take those learnings, you can take the knowledge that you learned during those periods of your life into the next chapter of your life and fail forward. Eric Thomas always talks about whenever we fail, it's like we're in a slingshot being pulled back, right? And as you're pulled back a slingshot, as you pull it back a slingshot, the tension grows, right? But as soon as you let go, what happens? You fly. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize that even through their failures, even through their falls, they can get up and they're in a better place now because they have knowledge from what they've learned before the failure. So that's where fail forward comes for me.
I love the analogy of that, of the slingshot, because you're right. It's like you feel like you're stuck back.
Yeah.
You can't move forward. But to that point, it's really the propelling that happens. When you take the opportunity, you learn from it, you feel and see the personal growth that can come from it. And I think that goes back to the idea, it's the power of choice. How can we look at something? And I love that. That's incredible. And congrats on 40 under 40. That's a huge accomplishment. And
thank you.
To be vulnerable enough to come out, especially in a platform like LinkedIn, to share that type of story. You don't see that every day. And I think that's why we still have in our heads this idea that when you fail, it's like you're embarrassed, you're ashamed, you don't want to talk about it. You've got to figure it out before you can, be on the other side. And so that's huge. That's huge. What was the response that you received from that?
Oh, the response was amazing. It was one of the reasons why I decided to start sharing more of that type of content on LinkedIn. I had always used LinkedIn for looking for jobs, right? I think
Right.
just everyone did that.
Mhm.
And even now, a lot of people have the mindset that LinkedIn is just to look for jobs or to network.
Right.
And I firmly believe that LinkedIn is a place where you can share your story, where you can connect with like-minded humans and
Mhm.
individuals, and then you can grow your business. And there's a lot more that LinkedIn has to offer, but there's a lot more that you can offer to LinkedIn as well. So back in 2017 is when I decided I was going to change the type of content that I was going to be sharing on LinkedIn, and it changed my life.
Wow. I think there's, and I don't want to give full credit to the pandemic for changing the landscape of LinkedIn, but I definitely saw a tipping point where,
100%.
yes, it was a lot of here's my successes, here's my new job, here's my promotion. And it was so much less of, hey, we're all human beings in this human experience of
Yep.
going to work every day, spending, thousands of hours of our life at a job. And
Yes.
I think it's helping shape culture too,
I think so
especially
too.
as we can, share more about those successes and failures to help one another grow. Because
100%.
I think the other aspect is people want to feel seen. They want to feel heard. And when you can reflect and see, okay, this person experienced this, you don't feel so alone in it in your own way.
Which is
So,
another reason why I share the type of content I do, because I want people to understand that you can hold a C-level position at a job. You can be a CEO at a company and still be a human being.
yes.
Still share your life story, still share your family stuff, still share your struggles, because there are other people out there that need to hear and know that they're not alone.
Amen. Yes. Love it. Love it. So you've got some incredible experience. You've been on TEDx numerous times. So can you highlight or can you think of a particular TED talk that you gave that was really meaningful to you? And what was that message?
Yeah, I think one of the most meaningful ones was back in 2020, which was my first TEDx. It was during the pandemic. And a lot was happening that year, obviously. So TEDx Detroit was in September. I was reached out by the directors, who just so happened to be two good friends of mine, Charlie Walborg and Terry Bean. And they reached out to me and they said, hey, we need a message for this TEDx, and we have an idea for you. And they had watched me change and rebrand my life for years, right? I went through a lot of things, and I was sharing these things on LinkedIn, and I was sharing them with the public. So, but I was also a creative director at the time, right? And I was leading design teams. And during the pandemic, in order to not lose my mind, I started just redesigning these major brand logos, the Sprint T-Mobile merger, the Amazon logo. I started redesigning these brands and just sharing them for fun. Right?
I remember this. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt, but now I'm like, I totally remember this.
I was just sharing them for fun. But what I was really doing was I was filling my time. I was sharpening my blade as a designer, but I was also strategically getting new business this way. Okay. So tip for creatives out there, share your work for free and you'll get more work. Okay. So, but they asked me, they said, would you mind doing a talk about how you've rebranded your life and rebranded companies? Right. So that was the talk. I talked about where I came from, who I was, what I was interested in, why I was interested in those things, and how I've rebranded and reshaped my life throughout the years, the same way that I researched, thought about, and transformed these other brands as well. And I think we can all do the same thing. There are a lot of people that are being laid off right now, and people are reaching out to me almost every day, like, Jake, I got laid off. What should I do? Right. And I'm always like, oh my gosh, this is a great opportunity to reshape your life. It's an amazing opportunity to start doing exactly what you wanted to do if you weren't already, right? What better time to start your life over than right now? And I think a lot of people don't use these opportunities. I call them quiet moments or rest moments. They don't use these opportunities to reshape and rethink, hey, was I even in the career I wanted to be, right? Am I even in the relationship I really want to be?
Yeah.
Right. And those are the things that I try to teach and coach people on is, hey, maybe this moment is for you to reset, reflect, and then refocus.
That's we kind of live our life on autopilot sometimes.
100%.
And I remember there was a pivotal time in my life where I just graduated college, and I'm like, I'm going to get this job. I'm going to be. I was in broadcasting. I'm gonna go work for Fuel TV and do surfer and action sports kind of thing. And
Uh-huh.
I move up to California, and I'm like, oh, okay. Nope. Wait, the thing that I learned though is that you grow up and you're like, okay, I'm going to go to grade school, and then I'm going to go to high school, and then I'm going to go to college, and then I'm going to go to my job, and then there was this break, and I'm just like, wait, there's nothing. It's just not a clear path, and I think sometimes even with work, you get into it and you're like, okay, I'm at this agency, and then I'm going to go to here, and you don't realize that you have so much power, and you do have a lot of control over your destiny. And maybe we cheat a little as creatives because we're in the branding space, and we can rebrand brands, and we can, look at business in a different way. And when you can kind of step out of yourself and look at yourself that way too, you're like, I can be whatever I want to be.
Whatever I want to be.
But it's always easier said than done, as where you get into these moments where you're experiencing job loss or a change in life, grief. I mean, these things have such an impact on how we view ourselves. And
100%.
A lot of times we attach so much of our identity, and likely reasons, that when something disrupts who we believe we are, it is a challenge. It's such a challenge.
It's a challenge. And this is one reason why I, maybe about 8 years ago, I changed my title on LinkedIn. So my title will remain and has been for the last 8 years, no matter what position, no matter where I'm at in my life, it is going to be human being. Yes. Because what I learned is, as I gained and lost titles, I was also gaining and losing my own identity. Mm-hmm. I was tying myself to the job and the salary that I was making and what other people believed I was. Right. I remember a time where I went from a director at an agency to a manager at a large company. Right. And I was worried that people would think I was taking a step back, even though I had gotten a $40,000 raise, because at this large company, manager was a higher level, especially in salary. But my mindset was, I don't know, like, I don't know what people are going to think, or, are they going to think I took a step back? At the end of the day, who cares? Right. So one thing that I've done is I've removed titles and all of that from my life. And I said, look, plain and simple, I'm a human being. And whatever I'm doing as an occupation at the time is not who I am. It's what I do.
Yes. Well said. And I think about all those times where, you get into a conversation, maybe you don't know the person very well. It's an acquaintance. You're just getting to know them. And you're just like, nice to meet you. What do you do? And instantly they're like, okay, this is my job title.
This is my job title.
This is the box that I'm in. And, it's like, I'm so many things. I'm an artist. I'm a brand manager, but I'm also, a friend, a sister, a lover. There's so much that is packed into that. And it's interesting how the professional world, I think we're starting to wake up to that a little bit more.
I think so too, because I think you're right. I think we put ourselves in this box, and this is the box that we stay in. And if no one understands what that box is, then we're irrelevant, right? So we try to come up with these titles and these introductions for ourselves that will be acceptable to whoever's on the other side of the line, instead of just accepting who we are. And if you're more than one thing, then you're more than one thing.
Right. And that's okay.
That's totally okay.
Well, and some of those people are like, because I've had that before, where they're like, "You do so many things. What do you do?" Like, well, I'm a creative. I do anything that comes into my head, and I go at it with full force. Or maybe that's the Enneagram 7 in me too. I don't know. One or the other.
So one of my favorite quotes is, someone asks, "So what do you do?" And then the response is, "Whatever it takes." Right. Whatever it takes. And I love whatever it takes, because I'm taking care of my family. I'm taking care of myself. I'm taking care of my friends. I am doing and being whatever it takes to live happy and peaceful. That's what I do.
Right. Every darn day. Amazing. So your presence, your influence, you've reached very notable institutions with your talks. I mean, we're talking Intel, Meta, UPS, the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
What is your approach to tailoring your talks to resonate with diverse audiences?
Yeah. So being an agency, as you know, and as a creative, I guess we are, and you mentioned it a little earlier, maybe we are the cheat code because we understand how to research and how to tailor messages and brand messages to different audiences. So
Right.
one thing that I do is I always look for the core values, the mission statement, the vision of each of the entities that I'm going to be speaking in. I also always ask the event planner or whoever the curator is that's bringing me in, what is the theme and what type of things do you think that they need to hear? And I will even ask people that right before I speak, right? I will have my keynote ready to speak months, even weeks before I speak. But as soon as I get there, something might have happened where they might need to hear something that I wasn't told 2 weeks ago, right?
Right.
But something might have happened that morning or something might have happened the week before that would be relevant to the audience then. And I always want to know, like, what is relevant to the audience today so that I am speaking and hitting on their hearts of what they need to hear that day.
It's not just the same approach. It's not
No.
the same, copy, paste, copy, paste. I love that because, I'm even thinking in the dynamic of work and your department.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes things are good. Sometimes you got fires every single day that you're trying to put out.
Absolutely.
So, based on how that is, to hear someone talk about how, you have to resonate with the audience. You've got to align with where they're at and meet them where they're at. So
Absolutely.
that's great. And I love that that approach when speaking to the organizer and just understanding what's going on.
Yeah.
What's happening. I mean,
what's
heck,
going on?
the department, you could be going through layoffs, you could be going through, some sort of big change. Maybe your favorite manager just departed for a new opportunity. Like,
Yeah.
those are big things. Those are also part of your identity. And that change can feel daunting. So
Yeah.
being able to hear and be spoken to with where you're at is great.
100%.
Okay, let's go back. 40 under 40. That's huge. Okay, more remarkable achievement. So I love to hear this. What do you attribute that success to, and how do you stay innovative and relevant in all the endeavors that you have going on?
I firmly believe that just like in math, right? When we were in high school, we were in middle school, and the teachers gave us math problems. If you just wrote the answer down and then turn it in, she would turn you back around, right? Or he would turn you back around and say, show your work, right? You've got to show your work. And I often tell my coaching clients, I tell people, listen, you have to share who you are and what you do. It's not boastful. It's not prideful. It's not bragging. I said, because a lot of people will not know who you are or what you do unless you share it, right? Or unless someone else shares it. So a lot of the things that I've done throughout my life is every now and then I will share a success. I will share some work. I will share a failure, obviously, right? But I was recognized because people that have been following me on LinkedIn for years they were seeing the progression of my career. They were seeing the progression of the work in the clientele that I was working with, and someone nominated me, right? And it wasn't so much by the doing of what I did. It was because someone saw what I was doing was relevant, and they saw that it was good, and they said, he deserves to be recognized. And I had no idea who this person was before the event, right? And that's just a testament to people to know people are always watching.
Yes.
You might as well give them something to see.
Right. You never know who you're going to inspire either.
You
never
never
going to know who needs to hear that message that day.
Absolutely.
Who needs that little pat in the back? Who's going to open up that phone and see that message? And that will be the change of their day.
100%.
So I like that. 100%. Show your work.
Show your work.
It's a great way to stay relevant, but also inspire others.
Yes, I love
Wonderful. So where can people find you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, Jacob Brown. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at the official Jake Brown. Official Jake Brown is my handle. My website is failforwardbrown.com, or you can go to jakebrownspeaks.com. And my phone number is 248-805-6093. I've heard a few influencers, or not influencers, but people that I follow that I really, really love, they will give out their cell phone number. My cell phone number is just that. If somebody needs to reach me, it's public anyway. So reach out to me. Yeah. You can find me. I'm not hard to find, like Dion says.
Oh goodness. Well, I love that you kept the you still have the Detroit area codes too. I kept my
Yes.
313, even though I've been in the South for 10 years now. I'm not giving it up.
I love it. I love it.
So good. Well, this was awesome, Jacob, and appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. And I hope to see you soon. I know that I'll be following along, and I encourage any of the audience listening to go give Jacob a follow as well. So take care, and I look forward to seeing what's next.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor to be on the show, and good luck with everything.
Thank you.